Wasn't that great of a handle, I guess.
And we're back. Bonfire Banter. We've had a little bit of a layoff, and we were so excited to get back tonight. We have a new panel up here. I think we got 3 new panelists, which might be the first time we've done that. We got Tony Anthony Francisco over here. We got Richy Leasley. He's our fire guy. He's been around, but this is his first official appearance on the show. So happy to have you, Richy.
I'm very happy to be on the show. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. And then we have Brian Connell over there. He's going to be joining us today as well.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm going to have a good time. It's going to be
Feeling
great.
good?
Oh, yeah. Feeling
good.
Loosey-goosey.
So, obviously, the memorial of 9/11 was yesterday. We're filming here on September 12th. And, I just kind of want to start about, a little bit about that. And, Tony, where were you at? How did it affect you? How old were you? What do you remember about that day specifically?
It was third grade.
Third grade for you?
Miss Pollack's class. We were all sitting around in a, Indian circle there.
Yeah.
We were all just Indian style.
You got to
there.
watch out for that. It's like crisscross applesauce now. You can't. It's like the Washington Redskins and stuff.
You're right. You're right. My bad. Well, my teacher taught me that. So
yeah. Well,
sorry.
We're all taught that. Yeah. Now you get in trouble.
But yeah, I just remember, she sat us down. She, kind of tried to explain to a third grader
What's
basically
happening?
what's happening.
That's tough.
We saw a bunch of buildings on fire. Showed us one of the. There we go. One of those box TVs too, with the big back and everything.
Yeah.
She kind of
they rolled that one in there.
She kind of rolled it in there.
Yeah,
showed
that's how
us
they
what
do it.
happened. I didn't really comprehend it honestly until obviously I was way older. So probably around middle school there. But that's all I really remember about that. It's pretty hazy to me. I know.
Yeah, right. That's
I know
pretty
you
young
guys.
too. I didn't.
It's
I'm
third
trying to do the
grade.
math on. Yeah, okay. Because I was like 7th grade.
Yeah.
And I remember being pretty strange because I was on a student council retreat, and we didn't have any TVs.
Oh,
there.
wait.
Yeah.
You were on student council.
Yeah.
I just want to know, the total IQ of your class that people would actually vote for you to be on student council.
Oh, it's a popularity contest.
Wow.
And I'm good. I'm good at that.
Man.
I just gotta get people to vote. All you gotta do is be a good talker.
I guess.
that's what I'm doing here.
Right?
It's not that hard. Yeah.
I wouldn't vote for you, I'm letting you know.
No, that's fine. I didn't need you. You were an outlier.
I never would have voted for you.
Yeah, I didn't need your vote. Don't worry about it. We were a no beard voting kind of thing anyway. We're anti poop beards.
Anti-poop beard.
Yeah, look at that thing. It's a trap for feces.
Well, dude, this is what I told you. You should
It is
drink beer right now.
It is
I'm
ass
saying
eating
the
season.
reason
It's
why-
ass eating season.
reason
You know
why
that.
is because the vagina is only 2 inches away from the asshole. And guys with beards are drowning in pussy.
Already.
All right. So, anyways, I was student council retreat, and they end up telling us, oh, it's like the trade centers have been taken over by terrorists, and I'm like imagining people in ski masks like rappelling down a building and
Exactly.
kicking in windows like some
was
Michael
this,
Bay
Nakatomi
film or something.
Plaza?
I don't know, man. I was in
Die
7th
Hard
grade. Yeah,
situation?
I thought it was. Anyway, what was your experience like, Brian? Where were you at? What do you remember?
Well, we already established the timeline.
Your timeline's off. I
No,
think
it's not. Because here's the thing, because it was in September of 2001, right? So I graduated 8th grade in 2000.
Okay.
So I started freshman year in 2000 and ended my freshman year in 2001. And since it was September, beginning of the school year of 2001, I was a sophomore.
Gotcha.
So I was in 2nd period biology with Miss Jumper. And somebody said that an airplane crashed in the World Trade Center. And I literally had no idea what the World Trade Center was. Like the 2 towers. I'm like, what's that? And somebody had to use the Simpsons reference from the time that they went to New York.
Yeah.
To say the 2 tall buildings from the Simpsons when they went to New York.
You're like,
oh, those buildings.
I
Okay,
got
I know
it
exactly
now.
what you're talking
Thank
about
you.
now. Yeah, because I had no idea.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Do you remember ever feeling at that point, because you said sophomore in high school, so did you feel patriotic at that moment? Like, I want to do something for this?
Well, here's the thing. Since I was like knee-high to grasshopper, I always tell people I was going to join the military. And
so for a long time you said
for
that.
a long time I was already going to join the military. It wasn't until I started figuring out what the actual difference was in the different branches of the military, being Army, Navy, Air Force, and Marines, which one I was going to join. And then when I started finding out the difference, I'm like, I settled on the Marines. So since about 6th grade, I always said I was going to join the Marines. And then as soon as 9/11 happened, I'm like, oh man, somebody wants to start some stuff up. Like a shit ton of people are about to die.
Yeah.
Like it's gonna happen as soon as they figure out who did this.
Yeah.
Like it's gonna happen. So it didn't necessarily influence my decision and joining the military or joining the Marines because I was already going to do that regardless of
Yeah.
whatever was going on.
Might have strengthened it slightly. but-
Really?
Yeah, well, no, it was going to happen regardless.
Okay, yeah.
yeah.
But then Richy, what do you remember about that day?
I remember I was in about 7th grade. I remember the kids in class, their reactions. Something I'll never forget. I remember the teacher put it on TV. I think it was in math class. And the whole school, they had it live on TVs,
Yeah.
and the whole thing was going down. And I was in shock. I didn't know how to feel about it.
So you saw it on a TV, like
yeah,
at school,
it was,
right?
Yeah, when it was going
Yeah.
down. Yeah, I mean they had it playing.
Did you see the second plane?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I didn't see
It
any of
was-
this till hours after it had happened.
To this day, it is something that I don't know how to even describe my
yeah,
feelings
it
about
gets
it.
you it gets you emotional a little
and
bit.
I remember all the teachers called their parents, and my dad came and picked me up from school
Yeah,
that
took you
day.
out of school.
I remember my dad just speechless,
Yeah. It's
Just
something a lot of
not-
people had.
yeah.
No one had, a lot of people hadn't lived through anything unless you had been around for maybe Pearl Harbor, that you had maybe that feeling of the JFK assassination maybe puts people
Yeah.
back in that same kind of
Yeah,
mindset.
if I can piggyback, it's almost like it's almost it's like wow, somebody can actually attack us.
Yeah.
like on
You
like
feel invincible.
Like, yeah, you feel
Yeah.
invincible because we're Americans, of course,
Mm-hmm.
and everything, and this is America. So yeah, I felt the same. After like
Yeah.
3rd grade and everything, after looking back at it. But yeah, I felt the same way. It was like, wow, someone can attack us?
Yeah.
Really?
yeah, that
Like that's
worked.
Yeah. like,
Yeah.
Really?
And
That's crazy.
I felt that I was like, well, these guys did it to us, and our guys are gonna kick their ass. That's how I
Yeah.
felt
Oh,
about
yeah.
it. I mean, it was definitely something that our generation, all of us here sitting here, will definitely always remember.
Yeah, where you were at and what you were
Yeah,
doing.
it was. It's gonna be permanently burned into my brain for
Yeah.
the rest of my life.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those things. It's like that. I mean, you talk to my grandmother, and she'll tell you where she was at for, Pearl Harbor. She'll tell you where no, maybe not Pearl Harbor, but she'll tell you where she's at for the JFK assassination.
Moon
and
landing.
moon landing's
That's
a big
another
one
good
too.
one,
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. Kind of remember where you were
Definitely
at.
that.
So, the other thing about this episode that we kind of wanted to get in, and that's what I was kind of seeing if, 9/11 had any kind of impact on your decision to get into the military. I mean, do you feel it made you more patriotic? I know you were young, but when you started maybe to learn more
Yeah.
about it.
I would say with me personally, it would be obviously I was in 3rd grade, so it didn't really hit me just till later.
Then, yeah.
Like later on, I was out of high school, and then it was a couple years after high school I joined.
A couple years after high school, you
Yeah,
did?
it was.
Okay.
It was about a year and a half. I was like 20 years old, somewhere
Yeah.
around there. And then I wouldn't say that made a huge impact on it. Was it always in the back of my mind to be patriotic and the love of our country and go fight for what's right and everything? Absolutely, that was always in the back of my mind. But I wouldn't say 9/11 is the reason why
it wasn't any
yeah.
kind of fuel for you necessarily.
It's always fuel for any American to
Yeah.
do that. Everybody would watch that, of course, and they would be like, "Hey, like I want to join now, and I want to stand up for what's right too."
Yeah.
Because they took something from us. But yeah, I wouldn't say that was the complete fuel at all. But yeah, it was a big, obviously a big part still.
Yeah,
So.
right. And then
You can't.
Oh, what were you saying? Sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say the the other part of this is we got a couple vets on the episode tonight. Both Brian and Tony here are both Marine vets. So
I was in the Army.
You were Army?
Yeah.
Oh, why did I think you were Marine?
I was-
Okay, so I had that wrong. Okay, sorry. Hey,
That's
you
fine.
learn something new every day.
I know.
But,
I probably look like a Marine too.
Yeah,
so.
absolutely. Yeah, I just pinned you.
He's shaking his head. No, come on.
So how are these things different? I kind of did hear you guys off camera razzing each other a little bit.
Well, there's actually a lot of
one has
differences.
a penis and one doesn't. Army does.
Notwithstanding, there's a lot of difference in all seriousness between the Army and the Marines. Whereas the Marines have always been associated with being like America's shock troops, first to go, last to know. Is one of the things they say. That we usually go in there and then we just kind of just go in there and wreck everything, right?
Yeah.
And just blaze a trail, and then usually the Army comes in then after, and then kind of secures everything and holds everything down.
Yeah.
Is typical. At least that's how it was working with both Operation Iraqi Freedom and Operation Enduring Freedom. For the most part, that's how it would go. Now, there are other differences in how those operations went, but for the most part, it'd be we go over there, and then like we do like an invasion of like a city or something like that, or like a region, and then we kind of go in there, and then it's like deal with like the initial like attack and everything, and then as we're moving on, it would be army units kind of like securing and like fortifying the position and stuff like that.
Yeah.
For the most part. Like, there's a lot of other like differences. Like we do like a lot of like our expertise is supposed to be like amphibious landings.
Okay.
But it's been a while since we had to do like a legit like amphibious landing.
So were the Marines kind of like front line like D-Day and stuff? Because we did that D-Day episode. A while
Well,
back.
so with D-Day specifically, the Marines, there were Marines present, but they weren't like, they were non like combat roles. They were like helping with the planning of like the invasion of D-Day. Right, they weren't actually like present there because they were tied up in the Pacific. And now one of the other things too is that the reason why you didn't see a lot of Marines in Europe fighting the Germans during World War II is because the military higher powers, right, felt that it was inhumane for any one enemy to fight the Marines twice in a single century.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Totally.
Is that a real thing?
No
Yeah?
shit.
No, that is not a real thing.
No, I was like, what? This is not. What?
No.
Yo,
I was calling BS
he said
on
it with
that
a
one.
straight face.
I was gonna
too.
say that's why I was calling BS on it. I'm like, that doesn't sound right.
No, but what is a real
That's
thing
hilarious.
is that there's this thing where they actually parachuted a bunch of Marines behind enemy lines in like France, like way before like the D-Day invasion. I think it was definitely before the D-Day invasions. I want to say it was like 5 of them. One of the guys died like on the jump in, but they were working with the French resistance, and they were so efficient and so good at what they did. It made like the Germans think that there was like an entire company of like Marines going around like doing the sabotage and stuff like that. And basically what happened is that they sent like an entire battalion after these dudes, right? And then they were held up in a church, and one of the guys came out and was like, okay, we'll surrender, because they had them surrounded like in the church, like, we'll surrender, but like don't do any harm to the civilians, or they have really nothing to do with this. This guy kind of got caught in the mix. It's like, so if all you guys surrender, like if we don't do anything to civilians, all you guys will surrender. It's like, yeah, we'll 100% surrender. Like only 4 Marines came out, because that's all there was. 4 Marines is working with like French resistance and stuff like that. So they made him think there was like a whole company of like these dudes running around like doing
It was
these
4 guys.
It was just 4 Marines. Yeah, 100% legit.
Wow.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's something that definitely new piece of history I didn't know
Marines are
about.
pretty badass.
Yeah, same. That's
Yeah, I
very
agree with
impressive.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, that's a pretty cool story. As far as again, like your experience there. So through the Army, you go through boot camp, and how long is that?
Yeah, so it depends on what your MOS is, which MOS is a job.
Okay.
Mine was 11 Bravo, so I went for 9 weeks.
Okay.
And then, so it's 14 weeks total
Okay.
afterwards. We did
So
a
9
little
weeks and then an
AI
additional 14 weeks?
No, and then additional
5.
5 weeks,
Gotcha,
correct,
yeah.
yeah. And then, so it was just like a lot of field training. We just slept outside.
Okay.
Made you eat terrible stuff.
Yeah.
And then just a lot of training. And then from there, basically they just send you to wherever
Wherever
you
they
want.
need
Yeah,
you,
wherever. So
And-
I ended up being Germany. So
Okay. And you
Yeah.
didn't see any like combat or anything there, right?
nope,
Not
no,
at the
I
time you
didn't.
were
I
there?
didn't see any combat at all.
Yeah. So it's a successful, military
Yeah, I
situation.
just did a bunch.
That's where I would want to be. Just not
Yeah, I just did
necessarily
a
having to
lot
go
of
in.
different missions over in the Baltics, so like Lithuania, Estonia,
Yeah.
Poland,
That's cool,
Bulgaria,
though.
Romania. So I got to see a lot of those different countries and
Yeah.
everything. And it was really cool building bonds, with all the NATO allies. So like I would be hanging out with different soldiers from all around the world
Yeah.
all the time, and it was really cool how we all had the same like connection. Like we
Yeah.
all knew, we all
Yeah.
embraced the suck, like because
Yeah.
it sucked.
Yeah.
Being outside all
Absolutely.
the time, and we always just even though we don't speak the same language, we all have the same language of
Like body
just
language
being
and
there
everything else,
together
yeah.
and knowing that all of us were together for one purpose and one task. So
Yeah.
it's
That's
a
pretty
really
cool.
it's a really beautiful thing,
Yeah.
not being able to speak to somebody,
Yeah.
but
working
just,
around them.
yeah, just
and-
working around them, and
Yeah.
we knew each other what to do with it,
Yeah.
at all times. So it was really cool.
That's pretty
We're all
cool.
on the
That's a
same
good
page.
experience. Yeah. And then Richie, I know you're a pretty big history buff and stuff like that.
Yes.
I mean, so how did you get into that? What made you a history buff? And then as far as what the events that happened shortly after 9/11. What's one of the maybe most impressive things? Oh, lean back here, babe. So what's maybe the most impressive things, or one of your favorite parts about American history? Right after 9/11 or something like that.
Well, the thing that got me into a lot of history was I grew up in a family full of World War II veterans.
Gotcha.
And I remember hearing their stories when I was a little kid. And a lot of them were in the Pacific. Some of them landed at Omaha Beach.
Oh, really?
My Uncle Sal was actually the last World War II veteran alive in my family.
Yeah.
And he was shot by a Japanese sniper at Guadalcanal.
Wow.
During World War II, yeah.
Where'd it hit him?
In his back, across his back. He operated a water-cooled machine gun.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
1919.
cool.
Yeah, those guys went through some really pure hell,
Yeah.
to say the least.
So, was he in the Marines then?
Yes, Marine Corps, yeah.
Oh man, I wonder if you knew John Basselon. That would have been dope.
I'm not too sure. Unfortunately, he's deceased now. He never really got into it and talked about it.
Oh no, yeah, I can see why.
Yeah, he was quite quiet about it, but he was a very proud American patriot. My whole family, since growing up, has been very proud American patriots. I take a lot of pride in this country and our founding fathers.
I grew up across the street from a lot of people in your family.
Yeah, the Ruezes. My Grandpa Joe, my Grandma Dorothy, my Uncle Phil.
Uncle Phil, yeah. Actually, I just became Facebook friends with him. Yeah. So if he's watching this right now, what's up, Phil?
Yeah. Hey, how's it going, Phil?
Give a big shout
How you
out.
doing?
Yeah, he's a great guy. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, we're all just hardworking Americans. After 9/11, I kind of to describe it, I felt angry. I was pissed off. I felt angry. I wanted to see, I wanted to see the enemy
Justice,
get
justice.
Yeah,
Right.
I wanted to see something go down, and basically, luckily for you guys, you go in there and kick their ass.
Yeah.
Especially,
It's
lots of anger.
Yeah.
It really was.
I think that's how the majority of Americans really felt. To be honest with you guys,
absolutely.
I was upset. I was mad. The emotions were all over the place, as well as with everybody else in our families. So.
Yeah, definitely. Tough time, especially when you're living in a military family. I'm sure there's a lot of, people in your family talking about emotional, and I didn't grow up in a military family, so we didn't have as much of that. But for me, I just remember it being something the same thing where, if it wasn't for football, I think that would have taken me into the military, because the only thing that I didn't look forward to going to college. I wasn't super academic going into that point. I feel like the only real reason I didn't end up going to the service was because I was trying to play college football at the time.
College is a scam anyways.
Yeah.
I think that's a topic for a different day.
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, we got some e-learning stuff hopefully we're going to be talking about here soon, and I know the education field right now is hurting. It's not so easy for them at the moment. But back on topic as far as, 9/11, everything else, Brian, you were kind of getting in. You said what year?
Well, what year did I go in the military? I went into boot camp in 2004.
2004.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's happening in American history? What's going on in 2004 when you got in?
Well, in 2004, I believe we were in OIF 2 or just encroaching into OIF 3, which OIF is Operation Iraqi Freedom.
Gotcha.
Right? And honestly, I think it kind of seemed like they were really hurting for people.
Really?
Because it seemed like we really got rushed kind of through training.
Really?
Yeah, they were just trying to get people out there. Because if you look at what the standards say it is at the time, and then some of the people that were in there, it's well, maybe this person should have got held back or something like that, and to get picked up with the next cycle.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, but it just seemed like they're kind of just pushing people through, just trying to get people out there because they needed bodies.
Yeah.
At least that's what it felt like to me. I'm not trying to,
It's not like you had another experience before that to base it off of.
Well, yeah, exactly. But the other thing too is I'm not trying to talk shit about other people that were in at the time, or even talk shit about the military in general. It just kind of seemed like it was just okay, we need to hurry up and get through this. You go through this training, you go through that training.
Which makes sense. I mean, if you don't got the numbers and you got new guys, we need to make a timely turnover here.
Military doesn't always make the best decisions for everybody for always, but with training wise. But I mean, but they gotta do what they gotta do always.
When you after you graduate, boot camp, and then you go to either MCT, which is Marine Combat Training, or ITB, which is Infantry Training Battalion. That's what ITB stands for. If you're going non-infantry, then you're going through MCT, which is Marine Combat Training, right? Then after that, you go to whatever your MOS school is, right? So after you graduate, whether it's ITB and then go to MCT and then your MOS training, either depending on if you're dealing with aircraft, you're going to what's called the wing, or not aircraft, it's called the fleet. And it seems like they're trying to get people like more so into the fleet than the wing.
Okay.
Because like a lot of those jobs in the wing, they have like, more like strict requirements.
Okay.
Because you're gonna be dealing with like airframing, electronics, and stuff like that, and you're gonna be responsible for working on and dealing with multi-million-dollar
Yeah.
pieces of aircraft. So they can't just have anybody working on the stuff.
Yeah.
Like you got to actually test really high when you go to take your Asvab. Like you need to have a really high, specifically GT, electronics, and mechanics.
So what's the ASVAB?
The Asvab stands for Armed Service Vocational Battery.
Okay.
I believe that's what it stands for. And that's basically the pre-test you take before you join the military. And it's more or less
Before you turn any branch?
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
any
all
branch.
branches
It
of
is,
the
okay.
military take an ASVAB test.
Gotcha. Yep.
And you have to take the ASVAB test because that'll determine what jobs you do and do not qualify for.
Gotcha.
Basically, seeing is like what your strengths and your weaknesses are.
They probably test
how
your
smart you
vision,
are.
your hearing.
Well,
all that
no, that's not
no?
it. It's multiple choice tests.
Oh, gotcha.
So
okay.
they ask you. So like one of the things like to do for electronics is like look at
basic
the
math,
circuit,
too.
Yeah.
or
Yeah,
look at the
circuit.
circuit and like see like okay, like
The pulley system.
yeah, the pulley system and
Yep.
the gears. I remember that being
And
on
different
there. There's
gears.
a bunch of different stuff.
Sometimes
So-
water, like filling up water, like which one's gonna
which
fill
one's
up,
gonna fill up
which one
first?
will fill
Yeah,
up first.
something like that. Yeah.
Yep.
So basically seeing how smart you are.
Seems like
Yeah.
almost an IQ test or
Well,
something.
It is
more or
yeah,
less, yeah, more or less,
essentially
yeah.
It is, yeah.
So, but it's trying to see because if you have like a higher proficiency in like electronics and mechanics, they're kind of looking for those guys because not everybody has like a high
No.
proficiency in that.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Well, it's certain people when they're going into that, they might have grown up in a family of mechanics, and
Yeah.
their knowledge of
Yeah.
gears or anything else is going to be a lot higher than a guy like me that just didn't.
Yeah.
So that's interesting though. I didn't realize you took a test before you even chose your branch.
Oh yeah. So
Can you like if you take that test and it's like, oh well, you guys are saying Army, but I want to go to the Air Force.
well, typically how it works is that you already choose a branch you want to go into,
okay.
right? And then
Your recruiter
whatever
takes you.
recruiting station you come out of, we'll send you to take the ASVAB test. And then after you take the ASVAB test, then you go to what's called MEPS, which I believe stands for Military Entrance and Processing, if I'm
Something like that,
if I'm not mistaken. And so basically that's where you get your physical done to see if you physically qualified
Yeah.
to be in the military, depending on what the physical requirements are
Like
on
flat
whatever.
feet and stuff on there
yeah,
and stuff.
flat
yeah.
feet and all
They
kinds of other
strip you
stuff.
down. They strip you down naked and make you duck walk.
Yeah, and then
I'm not joking.
Yeah.
It's
For real?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah. And then
I'm
one of
not
the things you gotta
joking.
do,
That's
yeah,
weird.
dude. One of the things you gotta do too is when you do that, is you gotta
Then you
like
get a girl
bend
checking
over,
out your butthole
spread your
too.
butt cheeks,
Bends over.
spread your butt cheeks,
Spread your
so they
butt
can see
cheeks.
your
Bend
butt-
over.
Yeah, see, check your butthole because I guess they're looking for hemorrhoids or something. I'm not sure.
I don't know
Yeah.
what they're looking
I
at.
Did-
guess
did
so.
you
have
enjoy
to do a
that,
full
Brian?
Body
No,
exam.
not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all.
It depends on who is administering that test. I guess.
I mean, if they had a bunch of hot broads doing it, I wouldn't mind so much, but it's like a bunch of old dudes.
Yeah, I
doing
heard-
it, you know.
I heard something
It's like,
fell out
hey
one.
man, I go to the YMCA. and get this
Something
done.
fell out in MEPS one time. Was that you?
What?
I heard the
fell
story.
out.
Something fell out when you spread
Yeah.
your cheeks and bent over. Was that you?
Oh yeah. No.
I'm just kidding.
So I'll see
It
how
could have
this is
been
gonna
me.
go.
But yeah, MEPS. Yeah,
all right.
MEPS was definitely an experience. Then they kind of like they drill you a little bit. Like they have a doctor be like, "You ever been to a hospital before? You ever done that?" And they just ask you a bunch of weird questions too.
Yeah.
So
Well, yeah, it's a bunch of questions about your medical history and about
Yeah.
your past and stuff like that, and all kinds of other stuff. And then, yeah. So then after that, I don't know, like if any other branches of the military have it, but like the Marines had a program called Delayed Entry Program. And then what you do is like you go to the whatever the RSS recruiting substation is, and then you do like they kind of like teach you some of the stuff like in advance of what's expected of you in boot camp. So like you do like a lot of like running and then like like just like basically like physical training PT,
Yeah.
and then you do like knowledge and stuff like that. Like so they're gonna go through some of the terminology
Yeah.
that like the Marines would use. And then after that, then they send you over for here. I think it's a Hilton, it's over by O'Hare Airport. You spend the night there, and then you're on a bus, and they take you to the airport.
Yep.
And I believe it was United. We flew out of O'Hare.
It was
to San Diego, and then on a bus from there, you go right to the USO. You wait there. Bus comes, picks you up. Take a bus, go right over to MCRD San Diego. At least for this area. I know other areas. You go to Paris Island, which I never went to Paris Island. I was never on the East Coast.
Why is that?
It's basically what main reason why I can think that is because of how the population breaks up. Like if you go more towards the East Coast of the United States, the population is a lot more dense. There's more people over there. A lot more people over there on the on the East Coast versus the West Coast. So pretty much you look, if anybody from like east of like Illinois is going to go to MCRD Paris Island, and then like Illinois west of it.
Yeah. Just
I mean, the only way of
saying you're going here, you're going there.
Yeah. So that does split it up, and it has to do with population density. Now, the other thing too is like you can. So I don't know if this is 100% true. This is what I heard. Like, but if you have like your father was a Marine and like his father was a Marine and so on and so forth, and they went to MCRD like Paris Island or San Diego, like, you can say, hey, this is like where my father, my grandfather, and all went. That's why I want to go there. Yeah. And I heard that like you can get special like whatever you want to call
access
it.
Or
I can't even think of the word right now.
Clearance.
But, not clearance. You get special consideration.
Orders.
Gotcha.
And then they said that. I don't know if that's 100% true or not. It's just what I heard.
I think it makes sense. You want to keep it in the family.
As far as I know,
I think it's special orders. Pretty sure it's called.
I didn't have anybody else in my family that joined the Marines prior to me, because both my grandfathers on both sides of my family were both in the Navy, and then my uncle's brother Jack, so my great uncle Jack on my dad's side of the family, he was in the Army.
Wow.
So I don't really know of anybody else being in the Marines. I mean, somebody could have, but I don't really know about that.
Yeah. Because your brother Steve went into the Marines.
Yeah, he went in the Marines after I did.
Yeah.
After he graduated, he joined the Marines too. Yeah.
I thought so. Okay, cool. Well, we're going to be doing a second segment here. We'll be coming back. We're going to take a short break. Appreciate you guys' time here, and we'll talk off screen. We'll figure out where we want to go from here. But thank you for tuning in. Keep clicking the likes and the subscribes. We need that. We're going to be starting up a new YouTube page, so look out for that. We're going to be sending links out on our Facebook page. So thank you so much, and we will see you back here soon for segment 2. Anyways, so, the first thing I'd like to say is you guys are obviously in the service, and I know you guys got to have some kind of stories. So we'll start this one with Tony over here. What's a lighter moment of your experience overseas?
A lighter moment?
Yeah, we were kind of a little serious in the first segment. What's give us a good story. What do you got?
Yeah, I would have to say it's just all the laughs that you have when you're outside. I mean, one of the stories that always pop up in my head, actually, our lieutenant colonel was involved in this. So we had an E5. We were in the barracks.
What's the E5?
An E5 is a sergeant.
Okay, yeah.
He's brand new sergeant. So usually what happens is the sergeants, after they become E5s, they still want to hang out with the private, like the specialists, the privates.
You're not buddies anymore.
Yeah,
because
they're not. Yeah, like you're not supposed to do that at all. But sometimes
it's called fraternization.
Exactly, fraternization. So sometimes they do that. So in this story here, they the one guy actually lit that he was an E5 sergeant, NCO, brand new. Lit a ping pong ball on fire.
They light up fast.
He put it.
I've seen this happen before.
Listen, he put it into the sprinkler system in the barracks. Every single sprinkler system went off. The fire alarms went off like completely. Everybody's TVs, PlayStations, Xboxes, done. Like anything ever that you could ever think of. And it was ridiculous.
That guy got a blanket party.
So he comes.
Some bars of soap and
So literally, it's ass crack 3 in the morning.
Oh my God! What an asshole!
Lieutenant Colonel wakes up and literally comes to the barracks, makes everybody form up outside. Get in formation right now. Yeah. Everybody lines up. Everybody forms up and everything. And while all this is happening, they didn't know the lieutenant colonel was coming. this one guy comes out, and he thinks it's some random guy. He doesn't know it's a lieutenant colonel. He shows him he's like, hey, look at my new tattoo. He pulls up his shirt, pulls his pants down. It's Donald Duck mowing grass.
On his
was
pube line?
On his pube line. So after that formation, next day I wake up, I hear all the news. I come out, they're like, hey, just so you guys know, you guys cannot drink for 3 months now. You guys are on every single one of you guys are on a no drinking order, right? Like, you guys are completely done. I mean, that's one of the stories that just always pops
That's a good
up.
one. I like
Well,
that one.
I've been it kind of trained me for COVID too. You know, you can't do anything now, so you know, it kind of trained me for that. So it's always a stupid story. And so,
What about you, Brian? You got any lighter-hearted stories? You got anything that pops in your head?
Yeah, I got a couple, but trying to think one that's more relatable to people who aren't in the military.
Yeah. Give us
Um,
anything though. You know.
well, okay, so like some of the food we got out there wasn't all that good. So my mom, if you guys anybody's ever met my mom,
Cammy.
my mom, my mom's awesome. My mom's awesome.
Shout out to Cammy.
Shout out to Cammy.
Silverado
Yes.
girl, fantastic establishment.
Best
She's a
bartender ever.
Yeah,
Yep.
she's a fantastic
Hell yeah.
bartender.
one of our sponsors.
Yeah.
My bar tab's always low.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Don't tell
So-
Jack that.
Yeah,
don't,
right?
don't let Jack know about that. Jack's
anyways,
fantastic place.
yeah, watch now you can get my mom fired. Thanks.
Oh, thanks a lot.
Jack
man.
won't watch. We're not that popular.
Anyway,
yet.
so
We'll be
my
all right.
mom, you know, and then also Mrs. Daniels too.
Oh yeah,
J-
Mark and Jack's. Yeah.
Guy's legitimate name Jack Daniels.
Bless them for naming him
Yeah.
Jack Daniels.
Yeah.
His name is Jack
Yeah,
Daniels.
Yeah, that's
Get
his
on it,
legitimate like
I
birth,
grew up at
legal
Mark.
Christian name.
Yeah, but
It's
his
Jack
name is
Daniels.
actual
Yeah.
Jack
Wow.
Daniels.
Anyways,
Born in
so
alcohol.
they
Yep,
they
I
they
love
sent
it.
they
I
sent
love
me
it. They gave him no chance.
Yeah, no chance. Didn't even give the guy a chance. Middle name and coke.
Jack and Mark both joined the Navy.
Yeah, they
That's
did.
Jack
awesome.
is
Both
still
military guys.
Jack is still in the Navy, and he went from enlisted, and I'm pretty sure he was a chief warrant, or not chief warrant officer, a chief. It's a rank in the Navy.
Yeah.
And then he went from that to officer.
Yeah.
So I
Wow.
believe he's an officer right now.
Does
Anyways,
he drink Jack Daniels?
I would assume so.
Right.
I mean, anyways,
I'm sure he's been
anyways.
made.
So like I was
Jack
saying, so
Daniels
like I
before.
used to get care packages all the time from like my mom and
Yeah.
Mrs. Daniels, right? All kinds of stuff in there, canned goods, and contrary to popular belief, it's not always hot as fucking balls in Iraq.
It's not
It actually,
always.
yeah, depending where you are, especially if you're more up north, it actually gets pretty cold to the point where it snows.
So what is the landscape there? Is it like a desert, or is this?
Well,
what are we?
well, it depends on where you're at. Because if you're like around like the Euphrates or the Tigris River, it's like somewhat
tropical, right?
somewhat tropical, yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's water there. It's hot. It's humid in the summertime. You got palm trees and stuff growing there. And then when you get like away from like the major bodies of water, it's like more deserty. But it's not like sand, like where people think of like sand on the beach.
Okay.
It's like a fine consistency, like moon dust.
Powder. Almost.
Yeah, like a powder, like
Wow.
flour, right?
Huh.
That's the consistency. And when it rains, that shit fucking sucks.
like to walk. It's like
To walk in, to drive
Muddy,
through,
like, yeah.
all that other stuff. Yeah, it's terrible. Anyways, so we get care packages from them and stuff like that, and like you know, canned goods and stuff like that. So one day we're jamming down the road, and then all of a sudden we hear this loud like pop bang come from under the hood, right? And the sergeant in the car, because I was the gunner. I was the gunner. At the
I
time,
think I
right?
know what this is already, but go on.
So I was the gunner at the time. We heard this loud like pop bang, right? And then he turns around, he starts grabbing me, pulling me down from the door. He's like, "You okay? Did you get hit? Did you get hit?" And I'm just like, "Oh fuck, my beans!" Right?
You
My
left the
beans!
I
I
figured.
left the can of
engine
beans
compartment.
in the hood, and it got hot, and the can
I
exploded.
figured.
So we go in there. I open up the hood.
That
I go in
is
there, I open up the hood,
hilarious.
and I grab the can of beans. There's still some left in there, and I always carry the spoons that we get in the MREs. And I pull it out there, and I grab a spoon. When I eat a bite of it, I go, "Oh no, they're still good, still good." Still good.
It's okay.
And he's like,
Did you have
You
to
don't
take
waste
any off
food,
like
bro.
the engine
You
block
don't
at
waste
all?
"Nah,
Like-
fuck that, no. I was just
Yeah.
eating out of the can." And then he just starts yelling at me. He's like, "Get the fuck back in the truck right now! We gotta fucking go!"
It's fucking snack time, private
No,
call.
no, I wasn't a private at the time.
whatever.
I think I was a lance corporal at the time.
Yeah.
But he's like,
It's fucking snack time.
well, no, because he's like, because we were supposed at the time. We were the lead scout element for the convoy, so we're supposed to be like ahead, like scouting.
Yeah.
And then now we're at a halt.
You're getting popped off by
We're at a
cans of
halt,
beans.
and then like he called in that we were at a halt, because he thought we got was an IED or some shit.
That's
And then it
funny.
wasn't.
Taking
Then
fire.
he calls it in, and I'm
Just a
trying
can
to
of
remember- I'm
beans.
trying to remember-
It's just a can of beans, guys.
Kind of
Yeah.
can of beans.
Don't worry
here.
about
We
it.
just got a
Yeah,
code
I
red
think
can
at
of
the time,
beans.
at the
Don't
time,
worry.
our call sign was Scorpion 2,
Okay.
and then he's like Scorpion 2, Oscar Mike. So then we're rolling again, and I'm in the turret. He's all pissed off at me, and I'm eating the rest of my beans. And I go
I'm
down
eating
to
the
him.
rest of my beans.
So I duck down, and like I can tell he's pissed off.
Yeah.
I'm like, Sergeant Measle, would you like some beans? And he was not having any of that.
He didn't-
was
he
not
didn't
having
take the
any
bean
of that.
offer?
No, no. He
That's
was.
a good one.
He was just kind of pissed off.
That's pretty funny.
Well, I think if you scare anyone in your what's the group, a platoon or something, you scare anyone with a can of beans and think it's some enemy fire. I think that you're gonna get a little razzing for that.
I mean,
that's well deserved.
You
That's
literally
hilarious. That's a
stopped the
great
whole
story.
mission.
Well,
you
So you
stopped
could
the
have a
whole
little hot
movement
snack.
because of beans.
Well,
Is that what I'm
there's
gathering?
another time we're sitting outside the Heditha Dam, right? Because we're doing a run over to Heditha Dam.
Yeah.
So we're posted up on the corner as you're coming in, doing security. And then one of the other guys I know was in the vehicle, and he had a DVD player, and then he was like watching a DVD or whatever. But like when the DVD, I don't know if you remember DVDs when they turn on, they have make a noise or
Yeah,
whatever.
like the little DVD players.
Yeah,
that you
yeah,
flip
DVD
up,
player.
it's
But
got a screen
whatever
there,
he was
and- yeah.
playing had a sound, and it sounded almost identical. And he had on speakers and shit that sounded almost identical to fucking RPG. And I heard this thing,
Stop it.
and I swear to God, I thought an RPG was coming at us. And I fucking jumped into the vehicle.
RPG is just a fast firing.
It's
gun,
a
right?
well, it's a rocket
No,
propelled
it's
grenade.
a
It's a
yeah.
rocket propelled grenade.
It's,
Yeah,
it's
oh, yeah.
literally.
Yeah, no,
you
that
put it
thing-
on your
that
shoulder
thing-
and you shoot
Oh
it.
yeah.
That thing is meant for
Straight up
defeating
bazooka
armor.
looking thing,
It's
yeah.
got
Correct.
like a shape charge on the front of it, and it's meant for going through armor, right?
Gotcha.
And considering that we're in a Humvee, which had armor on it, not as good as a fucking
That's
tank.
like the
And this
biggest
thing,
the
yeah,
thing
this
that can
thing
stop
is
you.
meant to
Yeah,
defend
it's like wet
defeat
toilet
armor
paper.
on tanks and shit like that. So I
Yeah, you
swear,
just-
dude,
just go right through
he had it on the speaker, he had it cranked up, and he was playing it. I'm pretty sure he was doing it on purpose to fuck with me.
Yeah.
And it sounded like, I swear to God, it sounded just like an RPG, and I jumped into the fucking vehicle because there's no way I'm gonna be exposed out of the fucking turret and get when this thing fucking hits.
Yeah.
And so I jumped in the vehicle, and then I look up, and
He
I
starts
see he's
laughing at
watching
you.
a DVD play. He's watching DVD. I don't. So that's the thing, though. Is I'm still on the fence whether he's fucking with me on purpose,
Yeah.
or he just didn't realize
Yeah.
it. Because then he kind of looked around what are you
What's the
doing?
problem?
So
Yeah.
I don't know if he was trying to play it off, or
He might have been a good actor, or
Yeah.
he did. Yeah.
I don't know, but I was about ready to kick his head through the fucking windshield.
Oh no.
That's hilarious.
That's some crazy shit there, dude.
It sounds like
tragic.
it. I heard a lot of a lot of my buddies that came back from overseas, just simple fireworks or waking up 4th of July will mess with you a little bit. You wake up from some kind of
Well,
loud
that thing
noise.
though is when it comes to fireworks and stuff like that, I don't necessarily get jumpy about it because the
right
sound,
after you got back.
No, because the sound is not
It's so different.
It is. It's different.
Yeah.
It's not the same. So I never really got jumpy about it. And then you can definitely tell the difference between incoming and outgoing.
Gotcha.
When it comes to IDF, indirect fire and stuff. But yeah, they make a lot of bang and explosions and
Yeah.
because different people are wired differently.
Yeah.
And some people just hear a lot of bang, a lot of pop, and they get anxiety and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. Really.
But yeah, I've been around a lot of different types of explosions for different things, and then I kind of hear it, and then at first I'm like, the fuck's that? And then it takes a minute, not a
process
minute.
what
Yeah,
is
it takes a second
what
to
is that
register
sound?
what it
Yeah.
is, and it's okay, that's definitely not anything that's gonna hurt me.
Yeah.
But like I said, different people are wired differently, and
I was
they
gonna say, in that
handle
process-
stress differently. So there's some people that have PTSD, and the other people that went through one thing, and there's somebody that went through an experience that may have been a lot more traumatic and are fine about it.
Yeah.
But not everybody's wired the same mentally,
Yeah.
so it affects people differently.
Yeah.
So it's a thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's gonna be a personal experience.
Yeah.
thing,
Yeah.
Too, just how you react to traumas, like
Yeah.
he was saying.
Yeah.
That with
And
anybody.
again, every
that's cool.
personality is slightly different with how grief and everything else goes, and you lose friends overseas or stuff like that. I mean,
Well,
there's a grieving process.
it's called survivor's guilt.
Survivor's guilt. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very
why wasn't it me? Why was it him?
Yeah, it's a very legitimate thing. It's called survivor's guilt, where you undergo a traumatic experience where it doesn't have to be somebody that you
What's
even
my purpose in
necessarily
life?
know.
Why was it me that survived?
Well, yeah, kind of. Where it's it doesn't have to be somebody you even knew that well. It's just that a lot of people feel what could I have done differently to safeguard that other person? Whether, like...
It's irrational or not, really.
Whether it was both of us surviving that or me trading places with that person.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a very real thing. It's called survivor's guilt. And a lot of people have it because they'll, like, go through an experience where maybe, like, their squad, maybe they're doing a breach on a building and something happened and, like, so, like, or not, like, necessarily the squad, but their fire team, which consists of, like, well, I don't know how the Army does it, but in the Marines, it consists of 4 people.
Yeah.
Like, maybe their squad got wiped and they survived while the squad didn't. And now they have this thing called survivor's guilt. And that's very 100% legitimate real thing.
That makes sense to me. I absolutely. And again, like you say, it depends on your experiences.
Yeah.
Every experience is so different. You might explain a conversation like that where you're breaching a building and you lost one of your good buddies, or there's something you could have maybe done, versus someone that didn't experience anything like that. You might never lost anyone close to you. Even saw someone. If you didn't go into combat, you might never saw as much loss of life and stuff like that. And stuff is obviously going to affect people in different ways.
Right.
Very.
So like I also like when I was in, like, I kind of adopted this, like, mentality where it's like, if it's your time to go, it's your time to go, and there's nothing you can do about it. Like, there's this story, I don't know if it's true or not. I think it was during World War II, where there was a pilot, and he had, like, some sort of like weird dream or whatever, that, like, this mission he was gonna go on, that he was gonna buy it, he was gonna die, and he traded places with a guy, right? And so he was in, I believe, a barber shop, if I'm not mistaken, getting his hair cut or whatever, and an airplane was landing, and it was all fucked up, and then crashed into the barber shop and killed him.
He did.
No shit.
So it's like, hey, like, he had this like omen or whatever you want to call it, that he was gonna die, and he thought it was his time. So it was
It
like
didn't matter where he was at.
And the thing is, though, was the guy that took a spot in the thing came back fine, no problem.
Yeah.
And so, like, I remember hearing that story, like, a long time ago. Like I said, I don't know if it's true or not. If it's just a story,
You hear stuff, tall tales.
Yeah, like a tall tale or something like that. But I remember hearing that, like, when I was, like, real young.
Yeah.
And then I was like, hey, man, if your time to go, it's your time to go, and there ain't no two ways about it. Like,
And there's probably a million instances of something like that. There's people that, like, didn't get on the Titanic because they traded away their ticket, and then, like, the people got on there, like, it's like anything. People are on flights for, the 9/11 flights and stuff like that, or you're take yourself out of a dangerous situation and all of a sudden, you die in a more safe one. It's like, and that might just be a story that makes veterans feel better, or makes someone going into the service feel better. Like, if it's your time kind of thing. You know, you could be in a dangerous situation, survive it, and you could be in a normal situation and not.
Think about it. Like, you don't have to be in the military. I mean, think about it.
Anything.
Like,
you could be in a car.
You could be walking down the street. You could be walking down the street.
Absolutely.
And then, like, you're sitting at a bus stop.
Yeah.
The bus gets out of control and take you out.
Someone could fall off a plane and take us out right now. I could take one to the head right now.
Yeah, and you could backtrack all you want, go through, every
all
single
the options.
Everything, anything like that. And then, but I mean, if you lost a buddy, all you can do is just live for them.
Yeah.
Too, you know what I mean?
And that's the best,
That's what has to keep you going, too.
And that's the attitude.
You don't have a choice.
Exactly right. And that's the attitude you got to take.
Absolutely.
Because what are you going to do? You got to dwell on it, and it's not going to help you move forward at all, at the end of the day.
No, I mean, not really. I mean, but again, too, that's still something that, very hard to get over.
Psychologically, I can't even imagine it. I can't even imagine it.
It affects people, whether it's PTSD, survivor's guilt, whatever the case is. It affects people so deeply that it legitimately
will affect the rest of their
becomes
life,
who they are now.
Yeah.
And speaking of becoming who they are, this is the thing too that really really kind of upsets me. Not really I don't know, but I believe somebody else said this, and I could be taking the sentiment from somebody else, and I don't know who it is, but the way that combat veterans are portrayed in media, like movies and TV shows and stuff like that, is you're supposed to be like a drunk, you're supposed to be addicted to drugs, or whatever the case is. And when you get out of the military, transitioning from military to civilian life is a very hard thing. Okay? And you have a loss of identity. and this is the part where I'm borrowing. I'm pretty sure from somebody else because I'm not smart enough to come up with this on my own. But
Smart enough to remember it.
Yeah,
though, so you
smart
got
enough to remember and not come up with it on my own. But the person said basically is that these people in your fire team, these people in your squad, you don't have to like them, you don't have to be drinking buddies, but if the situation calls for it, you will die for them.
Yeah.
Right? And then when you get out, like you knew who you were in the military. You had
a job, you had a purpose.
You had a job, you had a purpose, you had a rank, you knew exactly where you stand. And then when you get out and you transition to civilian life, you have a loss of identity. Like you don't know who you are. You don't know what you're supposed to do. You don't know what the next step is.
And some people don't find that for a long time.
For a long time, yeah. Some people don't find it. Sometimes it takes years, takes decades,
Yeah.
and like some people never do.
Yeah.
And then you got, like I said, this brings back to the media, is that the media portrays like what the combat veteran or a veteran in general is supposed to be. And so a lot of people adopt that role because they don't know what else. Because that's what society's telling them how they're supposed to be.
Which is the problem with stereotypes in general in this country, in this world, is that, if you're generalized like, oh yeah, veterans are supposed to be drunks and have PTSD and have emotional issues and, they're going to, have problems like that. It's like, that's easier to fall into. It's like any generalization that we make about race or anything else.
Yep.
You keep telling people they got to be this way, you're going to be this way. It's easier to fall into that.
Yeah,
if someone tells you you're going to be good and you're going to be healthy and you're going to be happy, then you probably lean towards that.
So I'm going to stick with like serious note here is that they call it 22 a day, which is 22 veterans commit suicide a day.
A day?
And so
That's
if
a sad
anybody's
number.
watching right now that's a veteran and you know about your battle buddy and you haven't heard from him a while or you might think he might be going through like a rough time, give him a call, check in on him.
Reach out, absolutely.
Yeah, reach out to them.
Yeah.
And if you yourself are having a hard time, call one of your battle buddies. Call them and talk to them. Don't do anything stupid. Don't do anything rash.
Yeah.
Okay? Don't make a split-second decision, a rash decision that's going to affect the rest of your life or affect other people around you that actually love and care about you.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Like, I'm being 100% legitimate. There are
Thank
plenty,
you for that. That's an important message.
There are plenty of resources.
I think that's a great thing. Yeah.
Plenty of groups you can reach out to. 100% do it. Okay.
Absolutely. And again, the other thing too is I know we're local and it's not a big thing where we're gonna get people to. But if it helps and we got these episodes going on, we'd love to have people that would like to come out and sit here, even if you're not on the panel, you don't feel comfortable getting up. But we'll have other veterans on episodes, and we'd love if you feel like you want to get around some other people, you're in the area, you're more than welcome to come out and join us. And if this does make you feel any better, we'll always invite anyone out. It's having any kind of problems, hit us up on Facebook. Let us know that you'd like to sit in and watch our production and everything else like that. We'd love to have anybody out if that makes it a little easier.
You can get phone lines?
Phone lines?
Phone
We
lines?
can.
Call
I mean,
them?
we have a landline here.
Yeah. If you do a live stream, you got people in the chat.
Yeah,
like, hey,
well,
what's up?
we really always push
Yeah, you
that.
could
Is
do a
that
little
in our
live stream.
production or in our Facebook post, hit us in the comments. Let's have a conversation afterward. We'll post Brian's information, maybe in the comments. And if you are somebody that's reaching out or you're having trouble, either one of these guys, if you want to talk to somebody, you don't have anybody.
Yeah, man.
Yep,
I'm
my
always
line's
down to
always
talk about
open to
whatever.
any veteran, anybody in general. Actually,
Yeah.
love to talk to anybody.
And that's our
Have
big
go
thing here
through
too.
problems.
Is with Bonfire Banter is we want people to feel comfortable, get some of these things out, talk about issues in the world today, and also some of the stuff helps. It helps coming out here and talking about stuff. Get it off your chest a little bit, make it a little light of some of these situations that might have been not so light at the moment.
Yeah, I'm still in like Facebook messengers right now, big groups of people that I served with and everything. So I'm in like 3 different groups. Facebook.
It's a family. It's like
So we always send each other like the most fucked up memes you could
Yeah.
ever fucking think
that
of.
only you guys
that
would
only
like,
we
yeah.
can
Yeah.
only we can see. Like
Yeah.
like if I'm trying to get a job, I don't want
Yeah, you
the
can't-
person
you
hiring me
can't-
to
you can't
see
post
what
that,
I'm
yeah.
laughing at right now.
Yeah.
Can't post that stuff outside of private.
But I
group.
mean, that dark humor, that's what gets us through
You know that
the
that person,
suck
exactly.
of what you're doing. You know what I mean? And that's with anything too. I would say anything in life.
Football's the only thing I can relate to.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
go through the suck together. It's like the hot days and stuff. But you
Well,
guys are on
and,
a deeper level. There's lives involved. It's
So
I
segueing-
related to that, but it's not.
Segueing to more lighter note,
Yeah.
that has absolutely nothing to do with what we're talking about right now.
Go for it. I love
Nice.
Happy birthday, Joe, you big, beautiful bitch.
this. Yes.
Yes.
Thank you,
Happy
Joe.
birthday, Joe.
Happy birthday,
Joe
Joe.
is now going to be coming on doing some
I
editing
was
for
waiting
us.
for Tony to whip a beer at me. I don't
Yeah,
even see him right now.
that's Mike over there. He's supposed to. I don't know. That was. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, we're out of
no.
beer.
More beer is a good
Yeah,
thing.
I'm trying to look through the light and see if he's gonna chuck one at me. Hit me right in the fucking
Yeah.
face.
Apparently the beer word was Tony. I
Yeah.
wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, your
either,
name
so-
was just the beer word. I don't know that we. Yeah,
Bazooka Joe Peacock,
Bazooka
yeah.
Joe. He's been on the
Yeah,
panel
like
before.
that.
Yeah, he's been on the panel before. He's actually going to be our editor now. He's going to be more involved in the show. So happy birthday, Joe. He's up in UP at our cabin right now getting
Oh,
some
he's up
things
in
done.
the Uper, huh?
He's up there youping it up for his birthday. His
Nice.
34th? 35th.
35.
I knew that. He's born 85. I knew that.
Nice. I knew
So,
that.
Yeah. I
Sounds
was
like
checking
it.
you guys.
Doesn't sound
But,
like it.
so as far as anything else, you guys got anything that's on your chest about the service or a story you want to give me? Richie, you got anything that you'd like to throw in here?
I'd like to go back to what Brian was saying earlier about that story with the airplane pilot. It's off the subject of military, but it's on the subject of music.
Okay. I like
the
it. Go
band
for it.
the band Leonard Skinner. You guys know they had a terrible plane crash in 1977.
Did they?
Yes. They bought an airplane that Aerosmith was originally looking at.
Okay.
And Aerosmith's mechanic told him, no.
Not a good
They were
purchase?
like, no, it's
So
not a good idea.
wait, get to the bottom line here. You're saying they should trade spaces.
No, well, I'm not saying that. I love
Trade places, that's
I
what
love
I'm
both
saying.
the bands dearly. Trust me, I really do. But what ultimately caused the plane crash was the fuel gauge in the airplane didn't work.
Wow.
Huh.
You know,
They didn't realize
and
that
the-
they had no
and-
fuel.
yeah, the person that the mechanic that had the airplane first, or the guys that owned it beforehand, they used to have to take a stick and dip it into the gas tank,
To
judge
check
it.
it.
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
they
that's
failed to
crazy.
mention it to Leonard Skinner.
Wow.
And the fuel
Did they
gauge-
die? Leonard Skinner died in a plane crash?
Ronnie Van Zant, Steve Gaines, Cassie Gaines, and I believe one of the
Yeah?
pilots died
I
in the
didn't know
plane
this.
crash. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, like half the
Really?
band.
I don't know
Yeah,
how I never
Yeah.
knew that.
yeah.
You're like Richie
Why you
Valens.
look-
And
I
like,
knew this.
You did
Don't
know
look at me. Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I'm just by
It was-
myself.
It was
I'm by
basically
myself on
it
the
was
Leonard Skinner airplane death.
it's
Did
kind of
not know
like
about this.
it's kind of like what
It's like
Brian
common
was
knowledge,
saying.
I
I guess so.
Which I think what you were talking about is actually a true story, if I'm correct.
Which
I've
one?
heard that
Yeah.
before too.
Well,
about
like
the
I
pilot.
said, there's a lot of stories that are stories that get passed around for truth, but aren't, or kind of exaggerated. Like I said, I don't know 100% if that's true or not, or if it's just like exaggerated or like a wives' tale, whatever you want to call it. But I do remember hearing about that. So
Yeah, it could be.
take it
Who
take it
knows?
at face value, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. Well, we'll believe you in your tall tales at the moment. I think that's all we really got. I don't got fact checkers on this story, so it is what it is here at
Well, I'm
Bonfire
sure
Banter.
this is gonna be on Facebook. I'm sure someone's
Yeah.
gonna fact check that and put that.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
100% full of shit.
I hope
Exactly.
so.
That never happened.
I hope so too. I hope someone blasts you. Just ask.
Man, I don't even give a fuck if somebody does. I'm just it's not even if it's true or not. It's like what the story represents.
Yeah.
It's like what it is. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Well, really quickly, I'm going to pass this axe around. We've been having everybody sign this. Tony,
Oh wow.
you go for this. Be careful. It's a sharp edge. We don't have
Yeah.
guard on there.
What an honor.
All right, here you
Thank
go.
you so much.
Absolutely.
I appreciate you
Try
having
to
me on
keep
the
it
show,
small,
man.
but large enough so
Yeah,
you
exactly.
give yourself a good little space. But
Put it right by the head.
there you go. Always keeping it right by the head.
Yeah.
That's good. There's
Taking
got to
it
be some
straight
kind
to
of
the head.
innuendo in there.
Give
somewhere.
it some good head.
We're gonna be coming back for a third segment. I think these guys are juiced enough to come back for another one.
Oh, absolutely.
yeah, getting there.
honestly, like I'll be here as long as you'll have me
We'll
here.
allow you to sit here.
Yeah, yeah. I'll be here until you call the police and tell them they get this guy the fuck
Yeah.
out of my property.
And
right
that
now.
might come. I mean, we'll see where
Well,
you
we'll see
start
what
going with the
happens.
conversation.
I mean, I'm
Um,
feeling pretty loosey goosey. I
yeah.
need some more beers and whatnot.
Well, I think our beer thrower has become the beer runner for a second here, and I think we're going to get some more.
I've already signed
Passy,
this.
yeah, Richie's already got on this axe here.
Here you go.
So if I
Brian.
sign
Brian.
this, you're not gonna break this one, are you?
Oh no! If it break it, which is possible,
'Cause, like, I know you
we're
broke.
just gonna save
I
that
know,
one.
I know
Well,
you
know,
broke
we-
the
Why
other
would
one
you even
had
say
here.
that?
Yeah, man, you're
Why
giving
would
me
you
bad
even say
juju
that?
there,
That's,
man.
That's
The
terrible.
thing is, though,
You're
if
gonna
I sign
start
it
like
up on
that.
the head here, is
Yeah.
it gonna stay?
Don't put it on the metal. No, go on the handle.
No, I'm gonna sign up on the head. Just spray it with some clear coat.
Whatever.
Preserve
you-
it. For all you know, it could be worth money one day.
Okay, well, if you want to sign it on the head of the X,
Do
do
both.
both. Okay, all right.
I'm gonna
He's
draw
gonna
this.
get-
I'm just gonna draw a
he's
big
gonna
fucking
break all
cock
the
up
rules
here,
just
and
because
then
that's a typical Brian kind of thing
What?
to do.
As the handle, like when it fills up,
Yeah, we're gonna replace the handle.
Oh.
Yes.
you gonna clear coat this or not?
Put it on the handle.
Fucking
Put it
asshole.
on the handle.
Are you,
I'm gonna do both.
are you sponsored by Clear Coat or something?
Yeah,
you keep bringing it up.
I don't
Yeah.
think Clear
Are you
Coat's
like
a brand.
You got Minwax? You got
Well, I
Minwax
don't
is
know what you
I don't
said.
think Clear Coat's a brand.
By the
I
way,
could be
we
wrong.
use Minwax a lot at work. Minwax, if you're watching, fantastic product. I stained my daughter's little A-frame, little clubhouse I made with some Minwax stain. Thank
I'm
you
glad
for
you
so much.
elaborated on
for-
that. You didn't leave it at stay my little brother. That's pretty.
I'm gonna toot my own horn. I'm a pretty good. If
you
anyone
got-
wants
you
a
got that-
custom.
you got Netflix with cuties and stuff going
Oh,
on.
whoa, whoa, whoa,
So,
whoa! Don't even go there. I got a 5-year-old, man. Netflix is not cool for that, man.
I
You know,
know.
we need to look into this. Pizzagate's a thing.
Yeah,
No, we're not gonna get into that. We're not gonna.
I thought it's not supposed to be a conspiracy.
No,
episode.
no, no. That's
That'll
not a
be
good
six.
thing.
That's
that'll
for
be
a
6
different
more
episode.
segments. 6 more segments, please.
Yeah, we'll see how many more seconds we have. We might get involved in that tonight. Brian, you done signing this thing? We're almost out.
I got really
We're almost out
shitty
of time.
handwriting, so you
Well,
gotta.
get it done. Are you writing a novel over there? Or you signing your name?
He needs his readers.
I don't wear glasses, dude. I got 2010, 2013 vision. I don't
There
need no
you
damn
go.
glasses.
I'm on 2020.
Oh,
I'm
that's why
living
you have
this
to
life.
back your head up so you can.
All right. We're getting told to wrap this one up. We're coming back for a third segment. We'll see you real soon. Bonfire
All
Banter
right.
coming back.
Just fight me naked, dude.
Yeah, we're
That's
gonna-
all you got.
Roman Greco style.
That's exactly.
Yeah.
Roman
that's
Greco
exactly
style.
what's
We're
gonna
talking
happen.
about how this is going to
Butt-ass
get dark.
naked and
We have a
greased
guy
up.
off the screen that works with us. And our panelist over here, Brian, we might end up with some film at the end of the night of
Yeah.
a mud wrestling episode.
Why'd you roll your R like that? I couldn't.
A mud
I
wrestling.
like that.
It just
Dude,
comes
if-
naturally.
hey,
I have-
hey.
I have Spanish descent. I'm
Ex-
a- I'm
apparently.
Stripes?
Exactly,
You seen the movie
bro.
Stripes?
Tell me about it.
Yeah, you ever seen the movie Stripes?
I have not, no.
Oh man, this is awesome. It's awesome.
zebra.
He knows. 'cause-
Zebra.
It's a zebra
John-
movie.
Yeah, right here. Fucking, who is it? It's why can't I think of his name?
Stripes. Who do you
Bill
got?
Murray.
No, not Bill Murray.
Bill Murray?
Yeah.
No. The other one.
Oh, then you don't
shit.
even have the right movie.
No. Bill Murray and Harold Ramis are definitely in it. John Candy, that's who it is.
Is
Yes.
John Candy?
John
Oh,
Candy, we're at the
okay.
bar and the mud wrestling like the chicks.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
it's gonna be like that.
See, I need to see
Only
this.
you know.
So you don't look
it's gonna
like
be
a
this
chick,
bitch
though.
over here.
He looks more like a chick than you. But
That's what I'm saying. 'Cause I'm gonna
That's the whole point of it. That's what he's talking about.
you won't pass as a chick on any.
be, no. So what I'm saying, because if you watched it,
Okay.
John Candy goes like ham on these bitches.
Okay, yeah.
I'm about to go ham on that bitch right now.
That's hilarious.
So luckily he's off camera now. We're good. We're not going to do that.
No, I'm just joking, dude. I'm just joking.
But
I don't need another lawsuit.
another.
Yeah, I
couple
don't want to talk
stacked
about.
up. Yeah, I'm legally bound to not be able to talk about that at the
It's an
moment.
ongoing investigation. I can't really talk about it.
My lawyer told me not to. But so as far as there's some animosity, I feel like I see you guys off screen. It's like some Army versus Marine stuff.
Oh,
and,
absolutely.
Oh,
so
always.
like, where does this come from? And when you go into the
Well-
Marines, do they tell you talk shit, or is that just like
no,
you,
no,
like,
no, no. I mean, like it's kind of like a mutual respect thing, and then because of that, it's like a sibling rivalry.
Yeah,
type
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because like Army stands for ain't ready to be Marines yet.
ain't ready to mean?
Damn.
I like that one. All right, do you got anything like that? I mean, what do they say about when you guys talk shit about Marines? I mean, what do you got?
Yeah, they're just a bunch of pussies.
A bunch
No, I'm just kidding.
Dude, you know that's 100% false statement
Hey,
right
bro,
there.
all
Like,
I know, hey,
unequivocally false.
all I know is that when we did a tug of war competition between the 11 Bravos, which is
Right.
infantry, me, and we did it against the Marines,
Yeah.
we whooped their ass 2 out of 3
See,
times.
now all I know
it was
is
1-1, and then
hold
last
on,
on the third
hold
one,
on, Mister.
Lithuania
Never
whooped
left
their
Europe
ass.
in my
I just
fucking
want you
entire
to know.
goddamn military career.
He's sitting over there.
So
just
all I'm saying is,
tourist.
dude, it's pretty hard for you to get anywhere without a fucking car, is it not?
in life
What,
now,
in
or
Well,
in
see,
general,
no, car
I don't
stands
know
for
what that-
combat action ribbon. And this guy over here is like, oh, 11 Bravo, he doesn't got a fucking car, can't get nowhere.
I don't.
Yeah.
I know you
combat
don't.
action
I know
ribbon.
You don't.
Hey,
I know
hey,
you
you're
fucking
good.
don't.
Hey,
So
utmost
with that
respect
being
to
said,
you
now
But
I
also,
do know for a fact there's been several times that we would go over, take over a city, turn over the army would fuck it up horribly, and we'd have to come back and retake it over to give it to them. And I know, and it was 100% Baghdadi, which is not too far from El Assad. That happened, And that was now granted. It was I'm pretty sure it was a reserve or possibly a National
All
Guard
right, so
unit.
yeah, exactly.
So
you
it's
know
not-
it was
it's not-
reserved.
it's not act-
Your
it's not-
facts
it's not
might
right.
be skewed.
So it's not active duty, but it's not. But the point is though is that when they left all kinds of serialized gear behind. Like we were opening up like Connex boxes.
Stop it.
And then, yeah, dude, we were finding like
it's
M2
so terrible.
barrels,
It's so
claymores,
embarrassing.
all kinds of shit, all kinds of shit. They just
The-
fucking
the
pulled trucks
Army
and got the
left
fuck out
behind?
of town.
The
Oh yeah,
Army left
No,
behind?
because the reserves is.
they just left all that shit behind there.
Hey, listen, I can say this. Nobody else can say this. Reserves is trash.
Whoa,
That's
whoa,
why-
okay.
That's why they're
I
called
love. Hey, I
tampons.
love. No, listen. They're awesome and they're great and everything.
Yeah, they're doing
When
their
it comes to
thing. Wow.
and I love everything they do. When it comes to discipline and what they do, they know who daddy is, like you were
Yeah.
talking about it.
Yeah.
It's active duty.
Yeah,
all
well,
day.
that
it
makes
really
sense.
is.
I mean,
They don't have the same discipline. They don't have the same. They're not in it all the time, so they will leave.
Well,
they'll
yeah,
leave shit
I mean,
behind.
like, yeah, it's kind of poking jabs and whatnot. It's that sibling rivalry, I guess you'd call it.
Yeah, man.
But you do know that, like, legitimately, you guys are fucking trash compared to us. 100%.
that's factual. That's just,
And here's
and
why.
that's
I
just
don't.
a
Here's
fact.
why.
Hey,
Here's why.
listen, man.
And I'm gonna give you several examples and reasons why. Okay, so whenever some shit goes down, nobody ever says where's the Army. They always say where's the Marines. Where the Marines are? Where are the Marines at? Right? First off.
That's an
Yeah,
opinion.
no, 100%.
Might be an opinion.
100%. Now, and here's the other thing. Here's the other thing about that too. Okay, so with the Army, right? Like you guys, you guys have such like with normal enlisted, and now this kind of goes like with the Navy too. But I've legitimately seen people who are like E3s telling somebody who's like an E7, like fuck you or fuck off.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna do
that'll
that.
happen.
And me as an E, like when I was like a lance corporal, E3, E4, I could never imagine saying to the person the rank above me to fuck off or fuck you. Like I could never
That
imagine
won't
me saying
fly.
that. Yeah, could
Man.
not, and I've seen that shit.
I
legitimately
guarantee
happen.
that's in the Marines too, man. I guarantee that. That is.
Yeah,
That's at any military.
But it's not-
you're
it's
gonna
not
have
branch
those.
right. Now,
You're gonna have
here's the-
shit bags.
now here's the other thing too is that the Marine Corps is a shit ton smaller than any branch of the military. Right?
Correct.
Okay. The Marine Corps gets, the last time I checked, now it could have changed since then, and it's been a while since I checked, but we get less than 13% of the entire budget for the DoD. Okay, our budget for the entire fiscal year is what the Navy has left over at the end of their year, right? So whatever the leftover budget is, that's what we get for our entire year. Like I said,
Okay,
things
but
coulda
also
changed.
at the same time,
Hold on.
Also-
Things could have changed, right? So personnel wise, smallest branch of the military, right? Like, well, by far. Yet we handle like 90% of all military engagements around the world, right? And somebody can fact check me on that, but I said last time I checked, that's what it was. And we got leftover shit, like fucking shit left over that like it's like ancient technology. at
Like a
that point.
couple decades old
Yeah,
type
like,
shit. Yeah.
like so we used to have green Humvees, right? Unarmored green Humvees, and the Army had like these nice up armored tan ones, right?
yeah, we do.
Well, after a certain point, we got a bunch of their Humvees, right? They just gave us a shit ton of them. Now, the Iraqis and I'm assuming the Afghanis too, were like, don't fire at the green ones because they will turn around and fuck your shit up. The tan ones, however, will fucking just keep pushing through. And then we got all these tan Humvees, and then we started fucking their shit up. And I'm pretty sure the Army gave those to the Marines for that express purpose because they were sick of getting fucked with. Because all they do is suppress and push, suppress and push, suppress and push. And I've been with Army convoys where they would specifically tell us, because we're like a small, like maybe like 3 or 4 VICs. VICs are vehicles.
Yeah.
Correct.
Part of an Army convoy, and they would tell us specifically not to like go out of our way to engage
Oh, okay, yeah.
the target. Just
Keep
fire
going.
back and keep pushing, suppress and push, suppress and push. That's a very real thing. Now you gotta look at it too. Is that we got digital camouflage, and then the Army came out with these what do you guys call them? ACUs or whatever.
OCP, or you have multicam as well.
Yeah, well, no. Before the multicam, the shit that-
ACUs, ACUs.
Yeah, ACUs.
What does that stand for, Han?
I don't know what that stands for.
Army
honestly.
combat uniform, I think.
Like literally,
But the
I was
point
in
is, though,
I was in
it's like
ACUs
it's
for
a
maybe
digital-
6 months, and they switched to multicam.
Check it out. It's
Scorpions.
like a digital pattern, But the only thing that's
It's
good.
it's urban. It's
well,
an urban pattern.
yeah, okay, that's what they say. They
Supposed
spent
to
I don't
be.
know how many millions of dollars on researching that, and it doesn't blend into a goddamn thing. Like the best thing
agree.
that I ever
I
saw
agree.
that blending into was like a couch that like
Okay, what
somebody had in their
what
house.
is this though? What kind
It's a camouflage pattern.
It's
that's
like
in the uniform.
It's an urban. So, yeah, when we invaded, started the war and everything, went there. They wanted to make like an urban pattern, so it's kind of
so
like
you blend into like street buildings and
you,
stuff like
yeah,
that.
you blend into building. It's kind of
It's
like
trash.
it's kind of
It's
like
trash.
a gross.
And maybe we'll pop that up in editing. We'll maybe throw a
Yeah,
picture
yeah.
up of
So
what
we
this looks
use
like.
The
we have
multi-cam-
desert
the
marpat.
multi-cams
We
that
got
we use
two
now are
different
way
camouflage.
better.
So they made one camouflage that's supposed to blend into fucking everything. We had two different camouflage patterns at the time when we switched over to the digital patterns, which we had forest pattern and desert marpat, which marpat stands for marine pattern. And marpat works really good in the desert. Works phenomenally good. The shit that they had was just like
terrible. It is
it
bad.
stuck out like a goddamn sore thumb. And what I also saw too, I noticed that you guys went from wearing black boots to these tan boots, similar to us. You guys went to digital patterns, similar to us. And I've even seen on Army vehicles, they would write on the side of the vehicles in chalk USMC because they would get fucked with hard. And then us being Marines, like whenever we took contact, we would try to murder the shit out of the people we took contact with. Like there was no suppressing push.
Murder the shit.
Yeah, there was no suppressing push. Like
Not
we would
just
go
murder
out
them a
of our
little bit,
way.
just
we
murder
go-
the shit
They
out of
do
them.
have,
We would
well,
go out of our way.
we both have different ROEs.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Well, that's the thing though.
Rules of engagement.
Rules of engagement.
okay.
Now SOPs and ROEs changed. It evolved
Correct.
through
SOPs
different
is what?
years. But what I'm saying
SOPs
was
is
is
what?
that
Yeah,
our SOP stands for Standard Operating Procedure.
Okay.
So we had SOP, Standard Operating Procedure, ROE, Rules of Engagement, right?
Gotcha.
And they did differ between the branches, but like I said, what the main thing was is that like our thing was like if we got under attack, we would push out like in a herringbone formation, which if you ever seen a herringbone, it's like that. So we push
Yeah,
out to the side
staggered.
and then fucking find where we're taking contact from, right? And then
Like the Mighty Ducks flying V.
Is that, Rob, our director, is saying, is that like the
Sort of,
Mighty
sort of,
Ducks
sort of.
flying V?
sort of.
It
But
fucking should
we
be.
would go and we would find where we were taking contact from,
Emilio!
and then we would try to eliminate the threat.
Okay.
And their SOPs at the time was like if we start taking contact was just to return fire but keep pushing. Not to eliminate the threat, but try to suppress the threat and keep moving.
Now I have a question for both of you guys about camouflage. Where did camouflage first? Who were the first ones to use camouflage?
Wait, Brian, what are his pants?
Yeah, what
this
is it?
here?
What is
That's
this
the-
pattern?
These are wood.
Those-
This is
that's
woodland.
Army.
Well, no, all the branches of the military uses at one point the BDUs.
The BD, yeah. Also,
Battle dress
Navy does
uniform,
too,
yeah.
and the black boots too that he has on too.
Yeah. Now,
Yeah,
I
they
mean,
do.
those are
No,
those
I'm
are
telling
Doc
you.
Martens
Yeah,
actually.
That's
I mean,
exactly what the Navy
When-
wears, pretty
you-
much.
like somebody's
Yeah.
gonna have to go and do some more research about this, right? To find out like when like
They switched it
camouflage.
over.
Well, camouflage wasn't like I mean, camouflage goes back to like shit fucking forever ago. You know what I'm saying? Like, what do you consider camouflage?
I would say
don't
No,
after,
look, way
after-
before World-
director saying
way before World War One, dude.
I think it was
Think
going
about,
back
I'm
to
thinking
the
about these
to
old
the
timey
Amer-
wars where you're walking out the red coats are
Think
dressed
about,
in
yeah,
red.
and that's
Dude,
what I was
dude,
going to
yeah.
Revolutionary
Well, so-
War.
yeah.
We
No,
had
no,
red coats
no,
who
well,
stand in
you
a
got
line
you
and
got
shoot
you got to
each
think
other.
of like before that. Think
Before
like
that?
people like think about like when you had like tribes and shit.
Native
fighting each other.
Americans.
yes.
And they would like
Yes.
with- in
Yeah,
mud,
mask
I mean, yeah,
or
like mud
paint,
and stuff to blend
face
into the
paint.
terrain and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
I mean,
so
like
it's probably very primitive.
It is
I
very
mean, that's
primitive, yeah.
camouflage, is it not?
It is.
So like
You're-
saying
I
like
agree.
saying like when was like who wore the first camouflage pattern? I don't know, 100% because like standardized throughout the military. I don't think was like everybody got camouflage. I don't think was till like maybe Vietnam or post Vietnam because there's only like certain units because you just have like OD greens, you know.
And that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and then you had
maybe that's what
certain
he's asking is,
specialized.
like,
You had certain specialized
Yeah.
units.
at some point,
that
they were
had-
just a solid color, and when did
Yeah.
it transition to
Yeah,
like
well,
a
you had
camo?
certain specialized units that like wore shit like this or before this Tiger Strike camouflage.
Okay,
Yeah.
You know, so like I said, I'm not like
100% sure.
not 100% sure. I mean, I've seen like a ton of videos on like different camouflage patterns and stuff like
If
that.
you really
but, like,
think about
to
it,
say
like,
who
World
had
War
because like
One,
think about it, like
Vietnam.
in
Let him go for a second. What were you saying?
World War One guys, Vietnam, they were kind of badass. Like They didn't wear any armor. They had no bullet, like no Kevlar at all.
Really?
They literally
Yeah.
just wore like.
Well, they did have
Flex
They had
jackets.
their, they had their.
they
their
did
helmet,
have
but
like body armor and stuff like
They didn't
metal
wear it,
plating
though.
and stuff. But that's the thing though
Probably
is
hot
tho-
and heavy and
yeah, well that was only
Yeah,
given
good
to
luck
certain
going through a jungle.
specialized like
Good luck.
trench raiding units. People specifically that were going to go into the trench, and then they had like all kinds of other stuff that they would get be given. Like they had like 1911s with like huge fucking magazines and shit like that, or like like think about like in World War One, like what kind of fucked up brutal situation do you have to be in? Say, hey, I need a weapon where I'm going to take this brass knuckle and weld a railroad spike to it.
yeah,
So that railroad spike can go through that person's helmet and into their fucking skull
yeah, it's crazy.
and fucking kill them.
Yeah.
You know, like.
Pretty brutal.
But like, if you want to say like, it was like in World War II, like the Marines had like had adopted. Not, I don't think it wasn't Marine Corps wide. It was only with certain divisions.
They had a water pattern camouflage.
Yeah,
that they
they
used
had-
in the
Yeah,
Pacific.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They had the which, but it wasn't like necessarily their entire uniforms. Some of them had like their entire uniforms, like trousers and blouses, as well as
The helmet
on
covers.
the helmet covers, and their tents. And then some of them only had it like just on their helmets, and you see like they're just wearing like essentially OD green.
Yeah.
But like, if you're asking me specifically, like, who's the first person to wear camp, I couldn't tell you right now. I'd have to do some more
It's a
research.
good question though. I mean, do you have anything else to add to like?
I
the
mean,
whole
would
camo
the
conversation?
would the first not be maybe Native Americans with the face paint?
Yeah,
Well,
no,
that's what
I
I'm
guess-
Like
saying,
if you really
like,
think
gotta-
about, or
gotta-
I have
you
no
gotta-
idea.
I can go
I mean,
back
like,
way
Like if you
before
go
that.
way back,
Yeah,
then
you look at
they,
all
Well,
they
those
Native
start.
Americans,
Americans, but
else
then you go back to Europe. You go,
Yeah, you go back,
You go
yeah.
to like Africa and like all kinds.
Yeah,
of
you
can
like,
just
like
tribal
this-
wars
yeah,
and
yeah,
stuff. that
it's
probably
like
went on.
who had
Yeah.
the first camouflage? I mean, like I don't know.
I
Like,
think it's an interesting
I'm
question.
gonna say
I would
this.
love to Google
you
that.
want? Yeah,
That's
I
a good-
guarantee you, who
yeah.
can answer this is Lindy Beige. And if you don't know who Lindy Beige is, definitely go check out his channel.
All right,
does
he's
all
a new
kinds of cool
sponsor
stuff.
of ours now, Lindy Beige.
You can't say. I don't think you can say he's a sponsor.
Thank you, Lindy.
but
No, yeah, thank you, Lindy.
Definitely
for
check out Lindy
listening.
Beige. Because like I guarantee, I've not seen all his videos. Yeah, he's great.
Our director.
I have
saying
not
he's
seen
great.
all his videos, but like he probably has a video that goes into that with way more time spent on research
Mike,
and presented a lot better than I could do it currently right now.
I'd like to make one more comment about the camouflage. The Germans actually during World War II, specifically in the Waffen SS divisions,
Oh yeah.
had many different camouflage patterns. They actually
then,
went so far as to have reversible smocks and reversible helmet
oh,
covers
yeah.
for spring and fall.
Fallschirmjäger.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, the
The
Fallschirmjäger
paratroopers.
was the paratroopers.
Yes.
Yeah. They were, to me, I think they had something crazy like 300 different camouflage patterns
The
that,
fu- yeah,
that,
and
that they
then-
used.
I have a question for you, Brian. Out of any of the different armies that you've
I'm gonna
seen,
say as a,
what's the best camouflage that you've seen out of any other country? Because mine, I know mine right away.
what's yours?
Mine's Lithuania, without a doubt. They have almost like moss looking from their helmets straight down to
Like
like
the
the middle of their all the netting.
Are you
They,
sure
like,
you're not?
they're-
Is that Lithuania, or are you maybe thinking of Denmark?
I was in Lithuania.
To go-
Well,
okay.
no, that's the
'Cause
thing.
I
The
think it's
Eastern
Denmark.
European countries,
Yeah.
they do like they all match each other because it's all forest. So like in Lithuania, it's literally desert, which is super weird. Desert, swamp, and forest. All three of those. All three of them. You'll walk about 100 meters through a forest. You'll hit a swamp.
Really?
Once you get out of the swamp, you'll hit literally a desert.
Yeah.
Completely straight across
Well, I've never
sand
been
and
to
everything.
Lithuania. I'm gonna
What
take
the
your
fuck?
word.
I'm not-
I've
it's
never been there,
fucked
so I have
up.
no
Yeah.
idea.
I was blown
Do it.
away a long time ago. My buddy Dalrymple, Matt,
crazy.
was in Afghanistan for a little while, and for some reason I always just like
They
you
have
hear about Iraq and like all these places, and you think of like at least me. It's like desert, like wastelands almost.
Yeah.
And then I hear about like
No.
Afghanistan, it's like a mountainous, like
Yes.
crazy. You know, I'm like,
dude,
oh, crazy!
lot
I
of mountains.
never
Lot-
realized that.
Like
you know,
there's
it's
there's a couple of good documentaries on Netflix you can watch. Like Restrepo, I believe, is one, and then I can't remember what the other one was, but it's kind of like the sequel to it.
what was the first one called? You said
Restrepo? I believe.
Repro. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that-
I've
okay,
never
so-
heard of it.
Thank you,
It's
Restrepo, for
it's documentary
sponsoring
on
us.
Netflix.
Yeah, thank
I
you.
said I could be pronouncing, but what
Netflix,
it
thank you for
was, what it was,
sponsoring.
it was a fob, an army fob in Afghanistan. I believe it was called Restrepo. When that was the name of it, but I believe Restrepo was the last name of somebody who was in the army who was KIA'd, and like that was like the premise
Killed
of
in
the
action.
that was the premise of the documentary.
Okay.
And yeah, so a lot of the fighting that's done there is done in mountains. Like I remember when I was in the Mew and we were doing our workups, we had to practice mule packing. And the reason we had to practice mule packing is because you can't get trucks and shit up into the mountains.
Yep.
So
you
you gotta
strap
pack it
everything as mules.
on mules, and you got to climb.
And
these
they can
fucking-
navigate these
You guys
dodgy
know how a mule
paths
is made?
that-
Do you guys know how a mule is made?
A mule is
Yeah.
made? I want to hear.
I'm pretty sure it's a male donkey and a female horse.
Is that
Really?
Is that the deal?
I promise you.
I don't know. I don't know if it's a male donkey and a female horse, or vice versa, or both is interchangeable.
is
I'm
the
not. I
deal?
have no
Yeah,
idea.
it is the deal, and they're also infertile. Like they can't have. So
Oh,
the
like
only
Rex
way to
there.
make a mule
Just
is
to replace
is
it.
literally to have a donkey and a horse.
So you're
Just do
you're
it.
like ruining it. You're ruining
But anyways, continue with your story. I just had to, I had
like
to put
it.
that in
I
real
like
quick. So I had to put that
Yeah.
in real quick. So
So anyways,
Thank you for
Like I was
that.
saying,
That's
like-
a new
Yeah,
piece of
little
information.
fun fact.
I
so
think
yeah,
it's a
so
very
the,
fun
the only
fact.
way really to get the equipment in there is mule packing or HSTs, heel support teams, and chopping the shit in,
yeah,
like slung underneath helicopters. Like
Yeah.
if you're trying to put like a gun battery up there, like you gotta sling it from underneath the helicopter and airlift it up into the mountains because you ain't gonna be able to get that shit up there.
that's
No way.
crazy, man.
No
That is
fucking way.
crazy.
That's
Yeah.
By the way,
crazy shit, dude.
I just had my director, Rob, over here text me this little thing. It says, observe and deceive enemy forces. In 1915, the French army became the first to create a dedicated camouflage unit. The word camouflage comes from the French verb meaning to make up for the stage. Its practitioners, many of whom were artists, were known as camouflageurs. So there we go.
Wow.
Now, if
There you go.
anyone is on Jeopardy, or if
Typical,
anything else,
typical French, always
Yeah, it was-
hiding, always
right.
retreating. They're trying to make, trying to retreat and hide.
I'm gonna
They're
say-
trying to hide from everybody. So of course it was the fucking French. we already knew
the
that.
French
Come on.
found out a way to hide
Well,
from
so
the
here's
rest
the
of
thing.
the
Here's the thing about the French is that up until the 20th century, the French actually had a really good war record.
Yeah.
They did.
More wins than losses.
Really?
They
And
did.
it wasn't until like World War I and World War II
Where they
that
got a
they get
bad
this
name.
bad rep.
Yeah.
Now, the other thing that the French invented during World War I, which is awesome, is hydraulics
Ooh.
and applying it to field artillery.
Really?
So to absorb the recoil in the guns. Yes, 100%. That's a real thing.
I was telling Rob about
Richy
it.
likes this one.
I was telling Rob about it.
Look
I
at
did
this.
not.
He's a
I
history
did
buff.
not know
He's a
that.
gear
I
guy.
did not know
if
that.
you go to the Cantigny,
Cantigny in Winfield.
however you want to
Cantigny,
pronounce
yeah.
it. No, it's not Winfield.
Winfield.
Wheaton,
yeah, yeah.
Wheaton.
No, it is Winfield. I
No,
thought.
it's Wheaton.
It's right on the
Hey.
border. Whatever. Yeah.
I don't know.
in
Anyways,
Wheaton.
go.
Yeah.
Go for it.
I think
It's
it
in
is
Wheaton.
Wheaton.
Look it up.
We'll
I'm
look
pretty
that
sure
one
it's
up
in Wheaton.
too. Rob.
But
Doesn't
they,
matter.
they have
Continue.
they
Oh,
have
respect
one of the
the
French
text.
guns that to feature the hydraulic system on it.
Gotcha.
That's there and it has like a little placard saying it. I was telling Rob about it. And he's like, "Oh, I didn't know that." And then like I don't know if you thought it was bullshit or what.
It's called the French 75.
Yeah, I don't know.
The
French
French
75.
75.
And I don't know if you thought I was making that up or bullshitting him. But
Yes.
like he read
75 apparently.
the placard on it, confirming what I was telling him.
Okay.
Oh, okay, cool.
So you actually didn't know what you were talking about. So like
I did know what I was talking
you
about.
talking on this panel tonight, we should trust you. And like you're.
No, he's correct.
Oh, it is
See?
Whedon.
It's Whedon.
Wow.
See, that's another
okay.
thing. That's another thing I was right about.
See, he's right about. So at this point, just don't trust anything I've ever said, because clearly I'm wrong. Brian's right.
Google's new
Yeah,
name is Brian.
Yeah.
We've actually switched.
Brian's got it. He's got it all figured out. We'll give him his.
Well, it's another cool thing about going to
Tell us.
Cantigny, however you want to pronounce it, is that they got I believe it's a T-26E4. It's a tank. That came out towards the end of World War II,
Okay.
and what it is that it had they put a 90 millimeter in it, and you can see they don't have any more. I mean, you can see where the weld marks are from where they had it, but what they did is that they took the armor off a Panther tank and welded it to the hull and to the mantlet on the gun, but they had it was too heavy for the gun itself, so you can see on the top there's like some hydraulic buffer springs up in there to compensate for the added weight.
The weight. Okay.
Yeah, and they only made like a handful of these things, and they only field tested a handful of these things, like in country, like against like the Germans and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And one of these tanks still survives to this day, and I don't know if there's any more, but I know for a fact that one of them
Is that
is there at Wheaton.
Cantini?
However you want to pronounce it. Cantini.
Cantini.
It's there at Cantini, and you can see it. But like I said, they had removed the added armor to the mantlet, and the added armor to the hull, along with the hydraulic buffer. But if you look, you can kind of see where the weld marks were, where they had it welded to it, and then they cut it off.
Gotcha.
And like I think that might be the only surviving example of that tank.
I think you're correct.
All right,
Yeah.
let Richy go for a second here. Yeah.
The reason that they needed to do that was to go up against the Germans with their 88s.
Well,
The 88s were absolutely devastating towards, a small Sherman. A Sherman tank was, any farm boy could work on a Sherman. They were under armored. They
This
were
is
under
a
gunned.
German tank, or who is this?
The Tiger,
Sherman.
Hold on.
Tiger 1 was a German tank.
Sherman's American tank.
Sherman is American.
see, now it
Go
depends
ahead.
on
should've known
which
Sherman.
model of the Sherman you're talking about.
Correct.
There are a bunch of
My favorite
models.
Sherman is Sherman Merman, by the way.
Okay, that's not a thing. But okay, so when it comes to tanks, it's not a thing.
Oh yeah.
So
It
you
is a
have
thing.
like the Jumbo, right, which had a shit ton of added armor. And if you look at it, because it has the sloped armor, the difference in the frontal armor that compared to Tiger
Bounce
1,
off.
that compared to Tiger 1 wasn't that much of a difference. Like I don't, like I said, if I knew who was talking about this, I would have gone and like looked at the numbers so I can tell you
Yeah.
what the exact diameter was.
Yeah.
But like the Tiger 1 had like straight like flat armor, and the
Gotcha.
front of the Sherman armor was sloped.
Yes.
So even though like the actual thickness of it was different, because it was sloped, it gave it added thickness to it, right? And so what they started fielding was the 76 high velocity guns, right, on a lot of these tanks. And then you saw like the 75 millimeter. Now a lot of people say, oh, the 1 millimeter difference made it, 1 millimeter is that much more devastating. Well, honestly, the diameter being 75 and 76, they were actually almost identical. They were almost the same. And
Well, they're
the
1
reason
millimeter off, I think, right?
the reason why they labeled it, to my knowledge, the reason why they labeled it 75 and 76 is because if they both labeled it 75 and then 75 high velocity, they were confused. People getting swapped with the ammo, because it's not the actual diameter of the projectile itself that was that much different. It was the length of the casing, how much powder was in it.
Yep.
So like how much more velocity you can get. That was like the main difference.
Okay. So that's interesting, and I didn't follow half of it, but I feel like
You're talking to some major tank
yeah, I
nuts
was
over
gonna say
here.
this guy
you,
is
guys, you guys know what you're talking
is
about.
a
Yeah.
buff over here.
Yeah, I'm a nut when it comes to antique artillery and tanks and stuff like that. I just have a since I
So
was
the
a kid.
88s were just blowing the Shermans up. Is that
The 88s were brutal.
Yeah.
Now,
They were
here's the
brutal.
thing. Here's the thing is that
It was an anti-aircraft gun that was put onto a tank. Basically, is
Yeah.
what that was.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Germans were that nuts.
so
You
so
know.
The
Something you're good
engineering
at.
was crazy.
So when it gets to it, is that they actually didn't make a lot of Tiger 1s or Tiger 2s.
They only made
It's just-
1,500 Tiger 1s.
Yeah. So, but how many of them were present in the European theater, specifically France, at the time of the D-Day invasion? Not a lot of them. So what the thing was is that you'd hear these stories of like the German big cats, right? Or as I like to call them, German thick boys with big dick energy, right? So
BDE.
you hear
It
these
rolls
stories.
right off the tongue.
So everything became like a Tiger tank. Everything became like a Panther or like a Tiger 2.
Yeah.
But really, there wasn't, specifically with the United States and Germany, there wasn't actually a whole lot of engagements with Shermans versus Tigers. It wasn't like a big thing that
Yeah.
actually happened. It happened, it did happen, but it wasn't like a huge thing that everybody makes it out to be.
Yeah.
Most
then-
of the Tigers were on the Eastern Front.
Yeah, well,
In Russia.
they sent them there because, Eastern Front.
Against
Big-
the
big deal.
T-34s
Big
and all
deal.
that shit,
Yeah, T-34 is a trash tank, and I know a lot of
Yeah,
people are
it
going to hate me
is.
for that.
It's
but
garbage. I agree. I think it's a piece of
T-34 is
shit.
a trash
I
tank.
think it's a piece of
Well,
shit,
here's
to
the
be honest
deal.
with
We
you.
might come back for a fourth segment here. I don't know if that's possible or not. But what I want to say here is
Rob
thank
said we
you
get two
guys-
more segments.
In case, yeah, we
Two
got
more,
2
right?
minutes here.
Oh,
I
2
want to say
minutes.
thank you to you guys so much. Appreciate you guys coming on tonight and talking. We're getting back into this thing. We're rolling full steam of Bonfire Banter here. We're going to be cranking out episodes every week. So thank you for tuning in. We're going to see you here soon. We might see you for a fourth segment. We're going to see how we feel here
I'm
after
down
this
for
one.
fourth segment.
But if we
Totally
don't,
down.
Totally down.
if we don't, we will see you soon. We'll talk to you. Bonfire Banter, maybe signing out.